Well, and also, when Carpenter does Halloween, he's going to be written about in every genre magazine in the world. She's amazing. One of the, she truly started the final girl. Mm-hmm. The real final girl aspect, all right? And she carries that movie on her broad shoulders.
You always talk in interviews like a good movie could be a movie like you can play it like a record in your house.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, a lot of some movies are like that. Yeah, I mean that's not the case. I mean, if you played Days of Heaven and that wouldn't be like a record. That would be like this moving painting that was just constantly going on and everything. But with movies with fun dialogues, all right, can play like records.
So you could play some of your movies.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
But I was watching Days of Heaven. Richard Gere, though, is anachronistic.
But, it sticks out in a way that makes it a movie. Yeah, you could have cast Scott Glenn in that role. And yeah, he would have faded into the wheat.
Well, it was John Travolta originally had that role.
I know, but okay. Well, John Travolta would have stuck out too, but stuck out like a movie star in a time you kind of want to see a movie star.
Right, and Richard Gere yet was not a movie star. He wasn't a movie star.
No, he looked like a movie star. And I love the opening with the guy with the arm. It's the only scene I saw at the theater. It's the only scene I remember, but I saw it at the theater. It's the only one I remember. And it's but maybe who steals that movie is that female in the movie, the kind of the femme fatale, Dana Leigh.
Japanese often like to beat up their wives, wouldn't marry one of them.
Right, she's terrific, and the way she manipulates everybody in the film is wonderful. And I didn't even realize it because he's completely unrecognizable. Is one of my favorite leads is John Chang, who's the star of one of the movies I keep mentioning all the time, Snake and Monkey Shadow. And but he always wears his hair in bangs. And so when he puts a little pomade in his hair and kind of combs his hair back, he's completely unrecognizable. But even the whole idea that it's like it follows Bruce Lee and his cop friend Mustache as they're after this gang of counterfeiters. And the movie spends so much time with the counterfeiters, and frankly, the counterfeiters are more interesting than the cops. So by the time that John Chang and Bruce Lee actually square off with each other, it's like the two leads of the movie are fighting each other. It's not like bad guy versus good guy. It's like, no, you've almost been watching a gangster movie. Yeah. You've been following the lead. And you kind of want John Chang and his guys and his family to get the paper they need to print their money. So you're kind of almost rooting for them a little bit. No. It's definitely cool. There's good fight scenes, but there's too many of them, and they're too far. They're too unprovoked.
Right.
Yeah, it has that late '70s too many unprovoked fight sequences in there. And there doesn't really seem to be a rhyme or a reason of why the cops are doing what they're doing.
Right. Yeah.
But again, that's why the gangster stuff actually ends up being so compelling. Also, the opening 20 minutes shows probably the most, to this day, most realistic version of a society under complete collapse. That television says, somebody get that fucking asshole off the air.
Yeah.
They are dead, they will rise, and they will kill, and the people they kill will kill. I mean, that is the greatest exposition actor of all time. Because he's also in The Crazies, and he gives the greatest exposition in that, too. He was definitely one of Romero's real finds, that guy. So you just buy the complete breakdown of the society and what do we do and where do we go and what's going on, and not in this big giant scale World War Z kind of way, which I actually kind of like that movie. But in this real low budget margins of just like the media that's being projected on TV that you're seeing, and since it's all done in this public accessy kind of way, Romero kind of really nails it. People just transcendentally doing their job before their jobs become irrelevant and now they must survive. You see Romero and all those people at the control panel. Well, yes, exactly. But what were they doing the next day? Were they hiding from the hills? Like was the place just overrun by zombies? What happened to them? To me, the head explosion didn't really do it for me, because I actually think the coffee head explosion is even a little bit better, frankly, because you see the head in relation to her sawed-off shotgun and Pam Grier. The scene that makes you wonder, oh wow, can I even handle this, is when the zombie in the project, when his wife, who's still alive, comes to her and embraces him, my baby, and then he just bites just a chunk out of her shoulder. And
it just looks real. You buy it. It looks, if humans had shark-like mouths, that's probably the effect of what would happen if a sharky human bit you. And it just an effect we had never seen before, and it draws a line in the sand. Oh, am I ready for the rest of this? But then you also had the weird thing of like, they've kind of controlled their world. They controlled it, and they've taken care of the zombies. They're outside. There's not a way in. They've kept them out. They're in. Then the biker gang shows up. And they're worse than the damn zombies. You know, okay, this is human outlaw trash that has waited for society to take a flying fuck, all right? So it can just run rampant, and now they are, and they're running rampant. They're not even afraid of the zombies. They make fun of the zombies. You ever had that moment where you're almost feeling sorry for the zombies because of the way the motorcycle gang is treating them? Yeah. But what you're talking about is just, I think, du rigueur for the majority of most horror sequels, because it's not the situation where most horror films have heavy characters or heavy landscape that deserves a trilogy, not just a part 2 and a part 3. But no, there's much more to be mined here. We can go much further with this. I mean, now Dawn of the Dead is one that does that. It creates a wonderful mythology. And it can go further with it, and the further you go, the more it brings up even more questions, and the more you want to know. Okay, well, what did they do 10 years after that? Well, what happens 10 more years after that? Okay, is there anybody in a safe situation? It's one of the few horror films that offers up that kind of thing. Well, here's the thing: is back in the days before IMDb, actors would routinely lie on their resume. And it was just kind of known, especially before you've done anything. You can't write SAG if you weren't in SAG. But other than that, you had a little bit of latitude to create shit. And so I came up with a couple of B-movie titles that didn't exist. I remember one was Drag Race No Stop. All right. And I played a character named Mag Wheeler. But I knew I had to put 2 known movies, and they couldn't have been SAG movies. So the 2 movies I chose were Dawn of the Dead and Jean-Luc Godard's King Lear. Well, it was like everyone was in it and no one will ever fucking watch it. So the thing is, I put in Dawn of the Dead because back when they made Dawn of the Dead, there's a young guy in the movie. There's one of the motorcycle guys. He's got shaggy hair like I had at the time, and he's like got a Tommy gun, and he's in the sidecar of the sidecar and the motorcycle apparatus. And guy doesn't really look like me. He looks more like Don Johnson than he looks like me. But he looks like he could be me. He has the same kind of brown hair. Yeah, I was wearing leather all the time, and we were more or less the same age. You know, I think he's obviously older, all right, but nevertheless, yeah, he had the mop hair that I had. Yeah, and the same kind of brown and everything. And like you could imagine me in that role after you've seen this guy. So that's on my resume and whatever. So I start working at Video Archives, only to find out that these guys are like the biggest George Romero fans in the world. Not only is Roger like a George Romero fan, he bought stock in Laurel Entertainment when he was a boy with his birthday money. Bought $500 worth of Laurel Entertainment stock, and then when they did Tales from the Dark Side, the TV series, it became $1,000. Yeah, and that's just him wanting to support George Romero. Yeah, you know. So I was sort of like, okay, do I tell these guys about me being in Dawn of the Dead? Because I'm not in Dawn of the Dead. All right, but should I tell these? I go, well, they know I'm not in fucking Dawn of the Dead. All right. This was obviously before they knew me, but that's just impossible. And they're going to realize it doesn't look like me that much. All right. It suggests me, but it doesn't look like me. It's just crazy that I would be in their favorite movie. Well, I did it as an acting exercise. If I can sell them, if I can actually have them, I never thought I can get you guys to believe it. But if I got you to entertain the idea so that you couldn't just not believe it, the win is for you to consider it. Yeah. For you to consider it may have been true. And then I go, well, if I do that, then that's just the best acting exercise of all. Because one, these guys knows that these guys know this movie by heart. And obviously that's not fucking me. I mean, let's just get down to it. It's not me.
And I got you guys for years, 3 years, for 3 years.
It should have been
me. It should have been. George Romero wishes it fucking was me. Yes, I'm older in that movie than I'm 5 years later. He's hanging around all these tough guys, so he looks bigger and older. That was the win. My life was fucking boring, all right? So I came up with all kinds of shit. No, I got to tell you, okay, 3 years later, I eventually told Jerry, and Jerry was like, I knew that wasn't you, but I'm kind of bummed now. I mean, I knew it wasn't you, but actually having you say it is like a real fucking bummer. So what happens was, once I did Reservoir Dogs, one of those acting resumes that I thought had long since went away, my manager still had one, so she sent it out. And so all of a sudden, people thought that I was in Godard's King Lear and Dawn of the Dead. And so in one of the movies on TV editions of Leonard Maltin's movies on TV, when it does the King Lear thing, and look for a quick cameo by a very young Quentin Tarantino. All right. So again, that's almost like I might as well have been in the fucking movie if Leonard Maltin is crediting
it's in print
in movies on TV. Then George Romero hired me to be one of the radio voices in one of the found footage. I don't remember, Diary of the Dead. So he hired me to be one of the radio voices. So thus, I eventually was a cast member hired by Romero. All right, to do a thing, and so that reality was created. Okie doke, and we're back. And now we're following it up with Irv Kershner's Eyes of Laura Mars. Eyes are like a prisoner, I'm captured by your eyes. Yes, but I think we had that for sure in the horror section. So that would be under the E's in horror. And as we were watching it, it was, okay, not only is it passing the test of being an American giallo, truly could have been an Italian movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not a giallo homage. No, it is practically a giallo. This exact movie, this exact screenplay could have been done in Italy with Umberto Lenzi directing it. But I mean, but it is kind of fascinating when we're watching it. Nothing about the movie seems authentic, from the police investigation to the portrayal of the cop to even the portrayal of her level of celebrity. Especially not the gimmick of seeing through the killer's eyes, randomly whenever they kill. But the one thing that is absolutely authentic is the direction of the photo shoots.
Yeah.
That are laid out. There's nothing fanciful about them. They're exactly realistic. I've been on David LaChapelle photo shoots, and they are just like what's presented in Eyes of Laura Mars.
Yeah.
But then also the way it captures a uniquely authentic but different high-class Manhattan than Dressed to Kill. This captures the disco Manhattan. And this movie has one of the best disco soundtracks of its era. And then also, just to make the point of it, though, when I saw the movie, after the movie came out, I went and got the soundtrack album. Now, I liked the Barbra Streisand song, but I got it for the ha-ah-a-a, let's all chant. That's why I got the record. Your body, my body. Okay, well, I don't think we've described the storyline quite exactly well enough so far. So the idea is, eyes are like a prisoner, I'm captured by your eyes. Laura Mars has become this ridiculously famous celebrity, but apparently a household name. But she seems even more popular than that. Yeah. Right? Like, she's been on the Tonight Show a bunch of times.
Annie Leibovitz or something.
Yeah, she seems more famous than all of those guys put together. Right? She's as famous as Faye Dunaway in the movie. So she's a world famous celebrity photographer whose specialty is taking beautiful women and creating an aspect of murder to them, and that's how she sells the products. And then it becomes clear later in the movie that she's just has these wild random images of murder and death, and then she redoes them as fashion layouts. She redoes them as these art pieces that include these little flashes. Okay, here's the real photo that happened at the Mayflower Hotel, and then here's your photo shoot photo. So this is going on, but then somebody in her circle is murdered, and when the murder in her circle happens, she actually is able to watch the murder. She sees through the POV of the killer during the murder. And then it happens again, and then it happens again, and they're killing off her friends.
Everyone in her circle.
And her entourage. And it's disconcerting to her, aside from the fact that when she puts together what's going on, but it's also when she's seeing through the eyes of the killer, she can't see what's in front of her. She can only see the killer's eye, which makes it really cool in one of the better scenes in the movie is when the killer goes to attack her and all of a sudden she sees through the
Herself,
killer's
yeah.
eyes, but she's seeing herself being chased.
Yeah.
And she's running blind.
Yeah. And that's the
Which
thing
brings to mind the strange shadows in an empty room. Blind girl scene. And very
Brad-
much like
Brad
Happy
Dourif.
Birthday to Me, they all take turns looking guilty.
The
Not to
elevator.
compare the two movies in quality wise, but like what's happening in Dressed to Kill and what's happening in Eyes of Laura Mars could literally be happening 3 blocks away from each other. They are happening simultaneously 3 blocks away from each other. At any point, these lead characters could cross by each other.
Yeah,
Kate Miller could totally walk by Laura Mars.
They would know each other.
I remember liking Laura Mars better than I did when we watched it. And I even saw it fairly recently, like within the last 2 years. I watched it with my wife Daniela because I thought she'd get a kick out of it, and she did. She liked all the fashion stuff going on. The first half is not a Giallo homage; it is a legit Giallo. This is exactly the kind of screenplay you expect to come out of Tatanas or something. But then the John Peters part comes in, where Tommy Lee Jones, who plays the cop, and Laura Mars, who plays the photographer, are attracted to each other and they fall in love. And then right in the middle of the movie becomes a love story. Laura Mars throws her character completely out the window from that point on. It's just everything is about love and devotion, love and devotion, love and devotion. And Tommy Lee Jones seems to throw his character out the fucking window. All right. He's all about her than as about the case. I would agree with all that, except, I mean, her dialogue literally is reduced to, oh, I love you so much. Oh, I love you so much. I adore you. I can't live without you. Eyes are like a prisoner. I'm captured by your eyes. In a weird way, it proves as subterfuge when it actually turns back into a Giallo again, more of a Giallo than it's ever been before.
Yeah, because
when it comes to the wrap up, the first 35 minutes of this movie is flawlessly directed. There's not a misstep in it, as far as I'm concerned. It holds that dream.
Yeah.
For about 35 minutes, and then the wonky plotting gets involved, and then the wonky but then, I don't know if it's good, but it's kind of great the way it comes back and for its final climax. Okay, so I'm going to ruin the end. I was almost wondering about maybe we shouldn't reveal this, but actually it's the thing about the movie that's worth talking about. This could be a Giallo trope, but it's also just a trope of wannabe thrillers where you have the boyfriend, fiance, husband character who's been completely straight and legit the entire movie. Through a crazy monologue, he has to reveal that now he is the killer. And it's usually accompanied by a me-so-crazy performance that the actor has not given up until now. And Tommy Lee Jones in this movie does my second favorite me-so-crazy monologue reveal for that type of character. My favorite is Paul Michael Glazier's me-so-crazy performance reveal in John Huston's Phobia, which could almost be a Giallo as well. With a ridiculous backstory that would have made Ernesto Gastaldi proud. A backstory so crazy, that's what reveals to Faye Dunaway he's the killer. But just like in Dressed to Kill, the character is a complete schizophrenic that does not know that two personalities are existing inside of one person.